So my name is Sophea and this is my testimony. Everything started when my dad died. He died during the civil war between Cambodia and Thailand. And I'm from Cambodia, so yes. So after a while, my mom remarried and she had a son with she had a son with the new husband, but what we didn't know that he was an alcoholic, so he drank away our money, so it was nothing left, and my mom couldn't handle it anymore. She got depression and she took her own life, yes. So we ended up then in an orphanage because our grandma couldn't take care of us anymore. First we ended up in one orphanage, and then my grandma's cousin had a friend who has an orphanage, and he didn't take us in, he put us in another orphanage. So where everything took a turn when one day at the school door someone was knocking and say, "Hey, Sophia, come to Phnom Penh with us because your parents are there waiting for you." So we drove to Phnom Penh and we stayed there for a whole week in the CEO of the orphanage place, and one night we saw a plane flying late in the evening, and I think a few hours later this friend who was connected to my now parents came to pick us up, and he said, "Your parents wants to see you with your sister." So he started to explain that my older sister has blonde hair, has corn hair. And I thought, oh, corn hair, I thought that, you know, the beginning of the corn, the red hair, and I didn't like it. I said, oh, this is not a nice thing. And what he meant was corn hair. He meant the hair, the color of their hair is like the corn, like yellow. They're blonde. And I remember that I was very nervous standing in an elevator, and this orphanage director, my grandma's friend from another orphanage, he just told us, the first thing you guys are saying, like, "Hello mommy, hello daddy." And we knocked at the door and the door opened, and the first thing I said, "Hello mommy, hello daddy." And I remember on the next day we spent time traveling and, you know, just sightseeing, because for them was new when they were in Cambodia. And so yes, and I remember that the last day when we were signing with our finger because we couldn't write, I knew that there was something going on. And a few days later we sat in the plane and we flew to Bangkok. And this is the story where God is also working, because in that time in 2008 when we wanted to fly away from Bangkok a week later or something like that, I don't remember it very well, my dad remembered better. My dad changed the flight and he said, "We fly tomorrow back to Austria." So we flew to Munich, and from Munich we drove then to where we were living. But we found out a day later, where we were already landing in when we were already in Austria, that a mafia gang took over the airport. So everyone else was sleeping for 10 days on the floor of the airport, and this is what God made also a way that we came. And the story back, we were the last children that could be adopted from Cambodia to Austria, because Austria wanted to already close the adoption before we even came. They told to our parents that you guys cannot adopt the children anymore because Cambodia was lying, and was lying about the certificate about someone. They found something out, so they said it's closed. You guys cannot have the children. But you know how I know how my dad is, and so the whole church prayed for my parents, and there were a few couples coming to my parents and saying it. So yes, those children belongs to you. So go to Cambodia and pick them up because they are yours. And even when Austria say it's closed, but go and pick them up. So my parents flew to Cambodia and they picked us up, and so Austria needed to reopen the adoption again. So the adoption was finished. So I was already Hada when I came to Austria. So we were signing everything already. So my last name is Hara now, and yes, and the story how I met Jesus was very beautiful. I remember that when I came here, it was really hard for me in school because I needed to learn a new language. And if you might not know that my mom is from Slovakia, my dad is an Austrian, so we spoke 3 languages in our house. So it was very hard because my mom was communicating with my oldest sister, their biological daughter, in Slovak, and my dad spoke with my sister, with my oldest sister, German, and my mom and my dad spoke with each other English. And so somehow we adapt to that language. So maybe this video seems to be like, oh, you speak a little bit weird English. So yes, because I grew up in a household where 3 languages were spoken. And yes, so when I was 8 years old, we went to Slovakia on a family camp, and they had this children program. We went there, and one night the lady asked to all of us who want to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. So I raised my hand. I didn't know that decision would change my life, and God remembers me always on that moment. Said, you decided when you were 8 years old to follow me. And the camp was in August, so I followed him in August, and I do not know when in August, but I followed him. And it took many years that it really came, that it's shown in my life. And when I already said that I was adopted, it means I had a bit harder in life because I needed to get rid of those fighting modes, fighting things that I need to fight for things, for myself. So one day I remember my mom telling me that, Sophia, be a child again. Don't be an adult because you have your whole life being an adult. And so I became a child again. I started to live a life of a child. I started to enjoy life. And then puberty came. And so in the year, I've read the Bible 4 times. So the whole Bible 4 times. You said, how can you do that? It's like I was just spending days and days in the Bible. So I know a little bit about the Bible. And yes, so it came puberty, it came friends, but my faith never changed. I stayed always as Sophia who loved Jesus, and I even took my Bible to school, reading the Bible during, the time breaks and so on. So I was well known as the crazy girl who believed in Christ. And so it went like this, and I didn't feel well in school. And so because our family lives 3.5 hours away where we live, we wanted to move closer. And my mom was like asking God, and was searching in the internet about where we could live closer to Bratislava. So she found a place, and she started to make a presentation for us that we would go to Slovakia, and we would go to live near Bratislava. It's around 1 hour away from Bratislava. So Sophia and I, my oldest sister Sophia and I, we said yes, but my youngest sister was a bit against it. But in the end, she needed to come with us because all of us were worried. My dad said we're not gonna live in Vienna because it's a big city and he doesn't like big city. So we end up in the smallest city, main city in Austria. So yes, and then we started a new school, and so I from 14 to 16, 14, 15. So we were like, there's a youth in Slovakia. There's huge youth in Slovakia. So my mom would drive us every Friday to that youth, and we went every Friday, and we got to know Jesus. And I said my life without that youth would be empty, because I found friends. I found the best of the best friends ever. And so I started praying, and I said, Lord, there must be more to you than just this life, you know. And so with 15, I met a guy, a Christian guy, a worshiper, and we started to text, we started to write, and it was a situationship, and I got hurt. And this is the situation where it made me or it breaks me. And the nicest thing is, it made me. So it made me, so I started to spend every night with Jesus. I cried on my pillow, I spent time with him, I had worship, and my life started to change because Jesus was there in my life. And so I found out that worship is a source of healing. So I started to have worship every night, and my relationship to Jesus started to grow more and more and more and more. And when I was 19, I got totally healed. So it took me 4 whole years to get totally healed, to forgive and to let go. And one day I got a phone call and say, hey, do you want to serve the youth group where you are attending? Do you want to be part of our team? And the words of the year that I got, like, I've called you from the end of the world to serve me. My righteous right hand is upon you. And I said, yes. I said, of course. And I didn't know what I put myself into, because it was really hard, you know. It was a transition, because as a leader, you need to live your life to the cleanest, like to live your life, because they're watching your life, they're watching you, what you're doing. So I made a lot of mistakes the first year, and second year I became stronger, and I started to live my life how God wanted that a leader lives her life. So I started to live more and more, and started to worship, and I got the fire again. So we started to praise a lot, and I prayed, the Lord, they're all sleeping, can you awake them? And thank God that the Lord awaked my best friend, and she's serving at the same youth. So we're meeting every Friday, and we're spending time together. We speak a lot about Jesus, and yes, so this is how my life till now it's turning, and it's just a little bit of it. And if God wants me to share more, I will share more. But I hope this encouraged you guys, because I feel like like God told me that, but right now I feel like, oh, I shouldn't say that. But yes, I'm saying that because I know that those who will listen to this testimony will be touched. And thank you so much for watching, and maybe there's a next video. So if you want some videos that I should upload, I will upload it. And yes, God bless you. And I will pray and say, hey, Lord, I pray to those who feel like they're an orphan. I pray that you're gonna heal them, that you're gonna bring them to a level of a daughter or a son in Christ. So right now, Lord, you are the good Father, and thank you that you are the best of the best. So I pray for my brother or my sister, Lord. I pray that you're gonna be with them. And I pray for those who are watching you and who doesn't know you. I pray that this testimony will touch their life and will just giving more to them. And I pray this, amen.